Examine another side of Moses, Moses and the mushrooms. We're told that Moses led the children of Israel out into the wilderness, and they were given manna from heaven to live on, the manna from heaven. And so we have pictures of the children of Israel picking up manna from heaven. Now, manna is a Hebrew word, or Phoenician word, which we call Hebrew. Manna is a word which means, what is that? Because the word manna simply means, what is it? So whatever it was they were picking up off the ground, they don't know what it is, but you can eat it. So in the Bible it says manna means, what is it? Well, first of all, it was small, it was round, flaky, white, hard, and it actually came from heaven. Obviously it came from heaven. So what is a small, round, white thing? They're picking up small, round, white thing on the earth to eat. Well, you go back to Exodus again, and again it says, and when this is when the first time we hear about the manna from heaven is in the book of Exodus in the Old Testament, Exodus 16, 14. And it says, and when the dew that lay on the ground in the morning, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there was lay a small round thing. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said to one another, it is manna, for they did not know what it was. And so Moses said unto them, this is the bread which the Lord has given you to eat. So we see on the right-hand side, it is manna, meaning what is it? Well, whatever it is small, round, is on the ground after the dew in the morning. And they would go out and pick up these little small round things. Well, once you start getting into the words and talking with the rabbis at Solomon Wiesenthal's Center for Holocaust Studies and Rabbi Antelman and all the other the authorities that I've sat and talked with for hours, it finally dawns on you what they're doing is they're picking up mushrooms. These are old drawings from the Middle Ages. The dew had gone up in the morning and small round things, white, were being picked up. They're picking up mushrooms. And as I said, a small round white thing. So they're eating mushrooms. The small round thing in the morning. What is that? Here it is. The sacred mushroom, key to the door of eternity. The search for the secret plant of the ancients, used to send the mind to another world and into the future, by Andrei Puharich. Andrei Puharich was an incredible man. Had done a lot of research on ancient religions and mushrooms. And, as I said, even down on the bottom, the Hindus were into mushrooms. Immortal soma. Soma is another word for mushroom. The history of the magic mushroom is known the world over. It was called the food of the gods. Many, many books on this subject, a lot of them written by religious philosophers and teachers, showing that the mushrooms were what the ancient Israelites were on. They were on mushrooms. Yeah. That's what it is. That's what it says. Small round thing you pick up in the morning. And it was obviously from heaven. Because you could talk to God. Well, hell, of course you could talk to God. So here's Moses was high on drugs, Israel researchers. Yeah, but this is in a Jewish newspaper, in the newspaper and in magazine articles in Israel. They're talking a lot about this now in Israel, about how Moses was nothing more than on mushrooms. Here's another newspaper, and it shows Moses from the Hebrew University. Moses was tripping on Mount Sinai. Yeah, I didn't write this. This is from Israel. And here's another one, talking about Moses on mushrooms. Moses was not the only one on mushrooms. Adam and Eve also beat him to it. So the catacombs in France and in the ancient churches were pictures of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and you will see it's Adam and Eve are at a mushroom. This is what the Christians have no idea in the world, that Adam and Eve were always pictured with mushrooms. A Christian fresco showing Amanita muscara as the tree of God and the evil in the Garden of Eden. There's Adam and Eve at the tree of life, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the mushroom. Here it is in the church, same thing. Here's a reproduction, another painting of it. So you'll find these pictures all over in Christendom in Europe, showing Adam and Eve eating from a mushroom. There's the Amanita muscara behind Adam and Eve. There's a prophet over there on the left-hand side. That one guy's hanging by his feet from a mushroom, so he's probably had enough. And there's the Lord Jesus on the right. Yeah, so mushrooms. Well, that was that was in the ancient Old Testament times. But what about today? Well, let's look at the Christian church today. There are a lot of books out there, like The Holy Mushroom, Evidence of Mushrooms in the Judeo-Christian System, The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross by John Allegro. The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross by John Allegro is a study of the nature and origins of Christianity within the fertility cults of the ancient Near East. Fertility cult. Here is a beautiful painting, but the top ones shows Jesus with mushrooms beneath him, presiding over mushrooms, feeding the apostles mushrooms. And it's interesting because in Matthew 26:26 in the New Testament, it says, while they were eating, Jesus took bread, gave thanks, and broke it, and gave it to his disciples, saying, take, eat, this is my body. But the word body, take, eat, and this is the Last Supper. Take, eat, for this represents my body. The very word body is the word soma. Soma means the body. And so if you look in the Bible dictionaries, look up body in the Bible dictionary, it will say soma, mushroom. So much for Jesus giving his body. No, it's the body of the mushroom. You'll see the mushroom around the head. There's the Amanita muscara, Jesus dying on the mushroom. So Christmas is Jesus' birthday, so naturally the symbols will match. So in Christmas, you have mushroom heads, Santa Claus on the mushroom trinkets, all kinds of Christmas decorations dealing with mushrooms.
There's one simple morning hack that any man can use to get rock hard on demand.
Yeah, and the reef is filled with mushrooms. Most people don't know, why do you have a reef, a Christmas reef on your door? A reef was always a symbol of someone dying. It's because the son dies, God's son is dead, so they have a Christmas reef. That's a whole nother subject when I get into astrotheology. That's a whole day's subject of breaking down the story of the New Testament for the first time, explaining what the New Testament was actually saying. When you find out the symbolism and the words and the terms of the New Testament and what the story really was, it was called astrotheology. It's an encoded story. So the story of Jesus is an encoded story. And we hear about Bible codes all the time. But there's another code which most people have no idea about, and that's the story of Jesus in the New Testament is an encoded story. And so once you have for the first time see what the symbols mean, what the words meant, then you begin to understand what the story is all about. It's a symbolic story, and most people have no idea of what they're looking at. And so they're taking the New Testament as historical fact, when in point of fact, the New Testament is a metaphor. It's a symbolic story. And if you don't know the symbols, you're never going to figure out what the symbolic story that's encoded in it. Very interesting stuff when you get into the real story of Jesus. Again, mushrooms are always in the Middle East and even in Europe, always connected to the mushroom. Santa Claus, the mushroom. Incidentally, too, Santa, S-A-N-T-A, S-A-N-T-A, you can interpose the A and the T and it becomes Satan, S-A-N, S-A-T-A-N. So in conclusion, we see that Moses and the manna from heaven that the Hebrews are picking was mushrooms. And with this knowledge, we can see the logic of the headdress. All the high priests in the Middle East, their headdress was always a mushroom. Mushroom heads. Yeah. Today, I mean, is that a mushroom, the upside down mushroom? Now here's a mushroom head. Here's a bunch of mushrooms. That one chump on the left looked like he's been on it for a while. So, time to say goodbye to the mushroom heads.